Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Georgia. If you've never seen my face on your YouTube before, hi. I am a South African personal trainer and I'm here to make your journey as easy and smooth and successful as possible. Today we are going to talk about how to walk into the gym for the first time. If you are a beginner and you've never stepped foot into the gym, or you don't know how the equipment works and you are a little bit nervous, that is totally normal and that happens to literally everyone. Even me, if I go to a new gym, I get nervous and anxious. Even though I've been training for literal years, it happens and it is normal and you are not the only one. But I am here to make stepping into the gym a little bit less nerve-wracking. So let's get right into this video. First of all, you want to get your mindset right. Try changing some of those frightening thoughts to something a little bit more positive. So if you are going to go and all you're thinking is, I'm going to embarrass myself, I look so stupid, this is so embarrassing, I'm so bad at this, your experience is probably not going to be the best. So try and reform some of those thoughts. What I like to do is I like to back myself. I like to be my own cheerleader. So what you want to say is, I have the right to be here. I am already worthy just as I am. I'm here to crush my goals and I am a badass. Just keep repeating that even if you don't believe it 100%. Keep repeating that and I promise you're gonna feel a lot better than when you were repeating those negative thoughts. So even by putting yourself out of your comfort zone, you are already amazing. You are doing what others are not doing. So get out there and go crush your goals. You deserve it and you are so capable. Okay, moving on to my second tip. You want to kind of get to know the layout of your gym, you know, what your gym looks like. I like to go onto Google the gym I am going to and just look at all of the pictures, just kind of to see where everything is located, just what it looks like, so you can start to familiarize yourself with what it looks like, what the gym is all about, instead of just walking in there and you have literally no prior knowledge of what this gym looks like. So you can either go on Google or even look at their website if they have one. And also one of my top tips is train during off-peak times when there are not a lot of people. You can also find these times on Google. They usually give that little bar thing so you can see when there is a lot of people, and then don't go in the top bar range where there is tons and tons of people, because even though I've been training for like 6 or 7 years, I hate training when there's so many people. It's just too much for me, too much anxiety. I am an introvert, I don't like it. I don't like being around a lot of people. So when there is not a lot of people in the gym, I am absolutely my happiest. And so this is going to help you if you are a beginner as well, and you won't be stuck thinking, is that person looking at me? Oh, that person is judging me. And it just makes the whole process a lot easier. And also, no one is really looking at you. Everyone is there for their own goals, for their mental health, to work on their body, and no one is going to solely focus on you but you. When I'm there, I literally don't think twice about what anyone else is doing. I just am listening to my music and thinking about my form, or thinking how hot my ass is looking. I'm just kidding. But don't get too caught up on what you think other people are thinking, because I promise you that's probably not what they are thinking. Also, another thing gyms do is they can give you a tour of the gym. So you can either ask one of the fitness instructors, the people that work at the gym. It is literally their job to show you around, make your experience in the gym as enjoyable as possible. And if you literally want to know anything, just ask them what this machine is for, how to use this machine. That's what they get paid for. So if you are a complete beginner and you don't know what any of the equipment is for, what I personally like to do is I like to go to the cardio machine. So sometimes the gyms are laid out so the cardio machines are facing the gym and you can kind of see the rest of the gym while you are doing your cardio. So if you are busy doing your cardio, you can just kind of scout the gym and you can see what everyone else is doing, how they are using the machines. But if your gym is not laid out in that way, what I also love to do is I like to go to the dumbbells and do a dumbbell only workout. And then during your rest periods, you can just sit and you can kind of just look around and see how other people are using the machines, and you can start to familiarize yourself with all of the equipment that the gym has. And you can literally do this for a whole week, 2 weeks, until you feel ready to move on to the gym equipment. What you can also do is start with the dumbbells, and every day you can try out a new machine, because most of the time the gym machines also have a picture that kind of shows you how to use that machine in the right way. And also another top tip is know what you are doing on that day. Get yourself a plan, because I promise you, if you are going to walk in there and you don't have a plan, it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. So once you have a plan and you know exactly what you are doing, there's no buffering, there's no time waiting around or thinking, oh, you know, what should I do? And also getting a good training plan helps you with that, and it also teaches you the correct form and technique. I have tons of videos on my Instagram. I have videos on here as well. I also have guides available on my website to help you step by step, as well as my app Pseudo if you need a trainer in your pocket. So this just helps you to feel less alone and there is no guessing required. There's obviously also nothing better than some moral support. So if you have a friend or a family member, go and do a training session together. Get yourself a gym buddy. It's always so fun. And what always helps me with some self-confidence is getting a banging playlist. And this also helps you get your mind off of everyone else, what you think they are thinking, which they are probably not thinking. So you know what type of music makes you feel really good. Put that playlist on, babe. And now we are getting to what you should wear in the gym. Obviously, you want to wear something that makes you feel really comfortable and good. You don't want to feel embarrassed. So if your confidence is not up there yet, wear some baggy gym fits. You can even wear a baseball cap to, you know, get that stealth going. And what also helps is wearing neutral colors like blacks and whites, or lighter shades or browns, anything like that. Something like this. And my very last tip is be prepared to make mistakes. I know you've probably heard this so many times, but we have all been there. I have made so many stupid mistakes in the gym. I still make them. I still bump my head on bars. I still accidentally drop weight plates. I still struggle with machines. It happens. And no, you cannot grow and learn without making mistakes. That means you are staying stagnant. So if you are making mistakes, that is a good thing. And no, you are brave for taking the step towards bettering yourself and bettering your health. And again, you have just as much right as anyone else in that gym to use the equipment, to show up and take up space. And if anyone is making you feel bad about yourself, just know that person is looking really pathetic and probably has like 2 brain cells. So there is no reason for you not to feel confident as hell. I hope these tips help you in your fitness journey, and my DMs and my comment section is always open if you have any other questions or you want some help or anything like that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if it helped you in any way, please consider liking, maybe leaving a comment, sharing, or even subscribing. I will also be giving a full body, upper body and lower body beginner dumbbell workout for you to try and get to know yourself and get to know the gym. Let's start off with a full body workout, and you can screenshot this and just zoom into the pictures because they are super small. So starting off with a warm-up, we are doing a 5-minute row. This is a great full body warm-up, and here you will just see how I am strapping in my feet, and I'm also showing you slowly what the form of this exercise looks like. Firstly, I'm using my legs to push backwards and my arms are coming afterwards, and I'm squeezing my back muscles, keeping that core strong. And when you have the correct form, you can just start to pick up the pace. And for the rest of this workout, you'll just be needing dumbbells and a bench. And here I'm going to show you how to put the bench down and flat. Sometimes it has a little kink if it's upright, so you kind of have to use your knee to push the front of the bench upward so that the back side can also come down. And obviously also just cleaning your equipment before and after, because no one likes sweaty equipment. Another tip is to put your water bottle, bag or sweat towel next to the equipment you are using so that no one mistakes it for being open. So we are starting off with our first superset, which is 2 exercises done consecutively after one another without any rest in between those 2 exercises. And the first one is a dumbbell chest press, and we are doing 10 reps, which means you are pushing the weight up 10 times and you're doing 3 rounds of that. And here you can see the weight is resting on my palms, and I'm using my chest muscles to push from the palms, and the weight is coming together at the top. My elbows are making a 90-degree angle at the bottom. We are doing quite a lot of exercises in this session because we are only doing 3 sets per exercise, which is not a lot. And as you progress, you'll start to use a heavier weight, more sets and less exercises. And supersetting those chest presses with back rows, so you are slightly bending your knees for balance, your hips are moving a little bit backward, your core is engaged, neck and spine are straight, and you are keeping your heels on the ground. You are using the back muscles to pull those elbows backward, squeezing at the top. And once you are done with all 3 sets of these 2 exercises, we can move on to our second superset, starting with a hip thrust, and your shoulder blades are resting on the bench, your torso and face are looking forward, heels under the knees, and you are using the glutes to push your hips upward, and you are pushing from the heels. You'll really feel this in your glutes, aka your bum, and keeping that core strong. Also note, my knees are making a 90-degree angle at the top. And once you have done 12 reps, you can move on to sumo squats, 12 reps as well. And you can see my stance is a little bit wider than the hip width. My feet are facing outward and my knees are staying in line with my toes. This is so important. And you are using the quads, aka the front thighs, to squat up and down, pushing from the heels, core engaged. My upper body is not staying in a straight line. You can see in the mirror it is making a diagonal line. And once you have completed the entire superset 3 times, you can move on to a bicep curl, 10 reps and 3 sets. And you can see my elbows are staying next to my side body. They are not moving up and down, and I'm fully extending my elbow at the bottom. And do not use momentum or swing the weight upward. You only want to use your bicep muscles to bring the weight up. And then supersetting bicep curls with tricep extension. So with the bicep curl, we worked the front of the arm, and now we are working the back of the arm. And you are also doing 10 reps and 3 sets. You want to keep your elbows relatively close to their head and just using the triceps to bring the weight upward, squeezing at the top, and your core is staying engaged. And once you are completely done with those 2 exercises, we are moving on to our very last superset, starting with lateral raises, 10 reps and 3 sets. You are using the shoulder muscles to slowly bring the weight upward up to shoulder height. And you don't want to swing or use momentum, as this really just defeats the point. And supersetting this with Russian twists, and for a beginner, you can keep your feet on the ground. Your torso is leaning a little bit backward. You're doing 20 reps and using the entire core to move the weight from side to side. Do not arch the lower back and keep the pace slow and controlled. When you want to ramp it up a little bit, parallel with the ground, keeping that core strong. I like to take about a minute rest between each superset completed. And this is your last exercise, and we are moving on to a lower body workout, starting with a warm-up, a 7-minute elliptical, just to warm up the lower body, so the quads, aka the front thigh, the back thigh, which is the hammies, and the glutes, which is your bum. So with your warm-up, you don't want to go all out, you just want to raise that core temperature a little bit, but you don't want to break into a hella sweat or be utterly exhausted and out of breath. Otherwise, this is just going to take away from your actual workout. And if you want to do cardio, always do it after your weight training session. And starting with our very first superset, our first exercise is going to be a glute bridge, and you're doing 12 reps and 3 sets. And your heels here are under the knees stay in line with the toes, and you're pushing the weight up from your heels and squeezing the glutes, keeping your core strong and not arching that lower back, and your hands are just there keeping the weight in place. And you can superset this movement with alternating lunges, 16 reps and 3 sets. So here I am doing reverse lunges. My feet are reversing, they are moving backward, and this is just going to target the glutes a little bit more, but also the quads. And here I'm doing forward lunges, so I'm lunging to the front, and this is mostly going to work the quads. And if you're struggling with the balance, I see this a lot, just widen your stance laterally and lunge a little bit wider, and you will see your balance improve. You also want that back knee to go quite low to the ground, and this means you're doing the full range of motion. Next up, we'll be going into a dumbbell Romanian deadlift, 12 reps and 3 sets, and this is a hip hinge movement, meaning the hips are bending and moving backward. You're keeping a micro bend in the knees, but you're not going into a squat. Your neck and spine are moving parallel to the ground and staying straight, and your shins are also staying straight and not moving in a diagonal line like they might do a squat. Core engaged, and you're pushing from the heels, so your hamstrings and your glutes are pulling that weight upward. The dumbbells are staying close to your shins and stopping just beneath the knees or a little bit lower. Just make sure your lower back is not bending. This might be a hard exercise to grasp at first, but don't be afraid to really look at the form once, twice, even thrice, and also look at your form in the mirror. And moving on to our second exercise for this superset, standing bent leg abductions, 10 reps and 3 sets per leg. You are using the side glute to push the weight upward, and the hand is just keeping the weight in place but not helping you. Keep the movement slow and controlled, and you can keep a 90-degree bend in the knee. And when you're done with that superset, we are moving on to our third superset, and starting with calf raises, 15 reps and 3 sets. You are keeping the weight distributed over the entire ball of the foot, and you don't want the ankles to sway outward like this, and you also don't want to use momentum. Really keeping the movement slow and controlled and squeezing at the top, really feeling it in those calf muscles. And supersetting that with a goblet squat, 12 reps and 3 sets. Allow the weight to rest on your palms, your knees are in line with the toes, and you are pushing from the heels. Always keep the core engaged and do not arch the lower back. Use the quads and the glutes to push upward, and you can see my upper body is making a diagonal line. Squat as low as is comfortable for you, but ideally you would want a 90-degree angle in the knee. Our last exercise is optional because we already worked the hamstrings and the glutes, but this is just a bonus and one of my faves. This is called a single leg hip thrust, and you are doing 10 reps and 3 sets per leg. Your heel is under the knee, and the knee is making a 90-degree angle at the top. You're squeezing the glute and pushing from the heel, keeping your core engaged. Your scapulae, aka your shoulder blades, are just resting on the bench. Alright, moving to upper body, and you can just screenshot this to keep it for later. And of course we are starting with a warm-up, and you can just do a 5-minute rower. Again, we've been through this, just strapping down your feet, really getting into position, pushing from the legs, and your upper body is coming last. That neck and spine is staying straight and squeezing those back muscles at the end. Starting with our very first superset, and our first exercise is a DB shoulder press, and you're doing 10 reps and 3 sets. Allow the weight to rest on your palms and you're pushing from the palms using the shoulder muscles. The elbows are making a 90-degree angle at the bottom and keeping that core engaged. And immediately going into shrugs. So this is not a shoulder exercise, this is a back exercise, but your shoulders are moving up and down and you are squeezing at the top. So you are working the muscle that is in between your neck and your shoulders. And once you are done with that, moving on to your second superset. So first up, we are doing an underhand back row. An underhand means your palm is facing forward and the back of your hand is closest to you. We are doing 12 reps and 3 sets. Your neck and spine are staying straight and there's a slight bend in the knee for some balance. Use the back muscles to pull the elbows backward. Next up, we are doing a hammer curl, and the barbell here is vertical and not horizontal. We are doing 10 reps and 3 sets, supersetting with the previous exercise. Use the biceps to move the dumbbell up and down and fully extending the elbows at the bottom. Elbows stay next to the side body and do not use momentum or swing the weight up and down. And moving to our very last exercise, starting with close grip chest press, 10 reps and 3 sets, and the weight is resting on your palms and you're pushing from your palms using the chest muscles to move the weights up and down. And supersetting that with some tricep dips, also 10 reps and 3 sets, and you're pushing from the palms. Allow the triceps to do all of the work, squeezing at the top. The elbows are making a 90-degree angle at the bottom and the lower body is not helping. Keeping your knees bent here makes it a little bit easier. And your last exercise for this workout, coming at you with an ab exercise, and this is called DB crunches, 12 reps and 3 sets. And you are using the ab muscles to lift the upper body and shoulder blades from the floor. You are not using momentum. Squeeze the abs at the top. And it will also benefit you a lot to kind of get to know the muscles in the body, just so you know which muscles you are actually targeting and working. And no, don't worry, you won't look like this after doing weights. This picture is not my work, but I found it on Google and thought it was a really great diagram. And here are just a few machines you can try out. This is called the leg extension, and this works the quads, which is the front thighs. So you will always want to keep it slow and controlled, and here you will be squeezing at the top. And you can see I'm also holding myself down with my hands. And this is the back row machine. I'm keeping myself stable with my feet just slightly pushing, and then my elbows are moving backward, so I'm using my back muscles to move and squeeze them at the back. And I'm keeping that spine straight, I'm not rounding. Next up is the seated hamstring curl. So this works the hamstrings, aka the back thighs. Take your time with setting up with this machine. It may take a few seconds. You want the pad on your Achilles heel or at the bottom of your calves, but not on your heel. You are extending at the top but not fully locking out the knees, and you are squeezing at the bottom. And lastly, we are working the chest muscles with seated chest presses, and you are pushing from the palms here, and you also feel it a little bit in your shoulders as well. It is so important to work each and every muscle in the body and not neglecting one. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I hope you learned something, and please give me a like, a comment, or even subscribe. See you next time. Bye!